Thanks for taking the time to do this today.
Oh, thank you. I love it. I love talking about the show. I love being able to talk about the show, most importantly.
Yeah, it's such a fun and just crazy show. I was wondering, where in the hell did you get this idea, and how did you get it approved?
So I love telling this story. So I was doing, and this is now 5 years ago. The COVID took a big chunk out of put a big pause for the first season. And about 5 years ago, I was wrapping what I thought was a season finale of my show called Trial and Error, and it wound up being the series finale. And my studio, my home studio, whom I love, Warner Brothers, said, "What's next?" And I was like, "Next, I'm probably gonna go into some sort of like psych ward and just decompress." And they're like, "No, we need another idea." And I was like, "I don't have any ideas. Like I'm very focused when I do something. I get very, very focused on the show." And they said, "No, we need something." So I met with different producers and I said, like, I don't have any original thoughts. Like everything I do, I go all in. And then I met with this producer named Aaron Kaplan. He said, well, and he went through some other things. And I was like, maybe. He goes, and I have Sharon Horgan wants to do The Shining, but as a comedy. I'm like, yes, I'm doing that. And I knew I wanted to do something genre bending. And I saw Sharon had a few pages written on it, and it said right at the end it said that women are more than twice as likely as men to be possessed and depressed, and the symptoms are exactly the same. And I was like, well, that's an unbelievable hook. And so I went and I pitched it to the three women I always pitched to at Warner Brothers, who I've known forever. And I was like, listen to this. Women are more likely to be possessed and than depressed. And it's, there's a hormonal thing, and there's something called schizophrenic menopause. And they just sat there like their Zoom was frozen, but it was live. And then I was so excited about the idea, and they just said, Jeff, we know you, we've known you forever, we know you're not like this, but that idea is so offensive to women that, like, I don't think you could ever say that idea outside of this room. And I said, oh, it was Sharon Horgan's idea. They're like, we love it. And then so like once I had the Sharon, my 600-pound Irish gorilla in front of me, it just gave me the right to write. And for some reason I really liked writing, strong women and damaged women. I come from a long line of mental illness, thankfully. And for me, it was just in a way to, having done sitcoms for 30 years or 28 years, it was a way to kind of like pave new paths in my brain, to like new ways to think and to do jokes and to scare people, because scaring, it's just the same continuum of you're surprising people. And I was like, oh my God, this new thing I can surprise people with, except it's a scare. And I'm not like a horror junkie. I've like watched all the classics and the ones that are referenced in our show I've watched, because you kind of watch them because they're great dramas. But I always noticed that you laugh after a big scare, and I'm like, oh man, if we can combine the two of these, that would be fantastic. And then to Sharon's credit and Starz's credit, and she just let me run with it and just said, like, how big can we get with this? And as long as, once we had the cast, I was just like, that anchors everything. Like,
Yeah, and you have such an amazing cast. I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I just like it just, for me, it's all about grounding it, and then you can go as big as possible. And, for me, one of the big things that I liked doing was just making it a family show, and knowing that, it's really a family show, and it's a family drama. Like, if you take out the horror, it's really a family drama. It's about a broken family. And I like writing characters who are searching for redemption. And Pat is certainly, if you didn't have Courteney Cox playing her, she's not a particularly likable character. Like, we joke, and we're talking about season 3 now, about her saying, I'm finally going to do something for myself. And you're like, what are you talking about? Your entire MO, your entire life has been only about you. And like, I just like, I like writing characters like that.
I'm just surprised how much you can blend together. It's horror, comedy, it's about addiction, it's a family drama, and it's got to be difficult to pull that off.
It's the most difficult thing. And I was telling someone else that every single cut I get the first cut, I'm just like, oh, it's over. I can't do this. And then I'm just going to walk into the ocean until I get to Catalina, until I bob up on the shore because I can't do this and I've lost it. And then they're like, and everybody reminds me that I always feel the same way. And every writer does that when they see a cut. They're like, oh, this is dead. There's nothing left here. Because if you go 2 degrees in either direction, it's done. And then you wind up cutting it a different way and adding music a different way and a special effect a different way and it comes together. But yeah, balancing the tone is really different because like regular like sitcom jokes don't necessarily work in this. Sometimes you get away with them. Sometimes I'll look at a joke and be like, all right, that's a little bit jokey. And Sharon especially is really allergic to that. Sharon, when I first started writing it, she said, like, are you going to really write that sitcom joke? Are you really doing a callback? I was like, my house was built on callbacks, Sharon. So she really helped me because she really does like character-based stuff. And she really gave me, her notes were very, very straightforward. And that helped me to kind of like just, make it dialogue. And it's everything about the tone. It's capturing the tone and my writing staff is so funny because it can only exist. It's half comedy writers and half horror writers, and there was almost no overlap in people they know, in references they know, in food they like. There's nothing. And it's so funny that like half of them will be mad, and I'm a comedy writer, so we'll make reference to some movie or something and they're just blank. And then today one of my horror writers just went off on a movie that no one ever saw and the director that no one ever heard of except for the other horror writers. They're like, oh my god, well, what about this movie? And I'm just like, all right guys, we got to get back ready for the comedy writers. So we're forcing that fusion together, and I think that's what does it.
Yeah, it works. And you can't ask for a better partner than Sharon. She's fantastic.
Sharon's
such a talent.
Sharon's such a talent, and also she's fantastic at like, she's fantastic at letting me know what she thinks doesn't work. And also like, obviously, she's a genius and, but she'll a lot of times put the brakes on stuff that, I'm convinced. I'm like, no, we can do that. We can get away with it. And I'm like, she was right. But yeah, she's great. And I'm very lucky that she's given me a lot of free reign on this one. And, it's fun.
And then you also have the very talented cast. I mean, what an amazing cast. If you just saw one of those names in a list, you'd say, I'll watch that show. But you have 4 or 5 just pure A-listers there. I mean, A-list in terms of talent. It's like,
oh, it's just,
what else can you ask for?
No, it's Murder's Row, and it's really, and I was saying this, that when after my first season, I was like, it's a little challenge with the egos, and they said, to be honest, we thought you would have been replaced by now because there's no way to harness those egos. But it's not even egos. The great thing about this show for them is, I mean, let me start by saying that I believe that good writing is only good casting. Like, you could have the best writing. If you have a terrible cast, it's not going to happen. And you could have mediocre writing. And if you have a great cast, it's better. This happens to be, they happen to deliver on every level. And they're not, because all of them have their own point of view and their own stories, nobody's competing. They're not competing over pages or, it's the first show where they're like pitching jokes for the other person too, and stories for the other person. And they're just they're so invested in their characters also. And also, like, Mira said something to me when we were shooting the finale yesterday. She said, like, I don't, now you get to be a certain age as a woman and they just write you as a hard-boiled detective whose uterus is in the trash can somewhere. And like, it's like, it's not sexy. It's not, and I like writing for underserved people. And we have like, just we've managed to get incredible guest stars. Alicia Reiner is unbelievable. Judith Light is a legend this year. Alison Tolman is great. Harriet Harris is unbelievable. Sherilyn Fenn, like all these people who have not, they don't get cast as much anymore, and they've got so much to give. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Marin Dungy they're all stars, and the kids are just fantastic. Greg Kinnear is, he's incredible. He's definitely, he's definitely an actor, and he has his process, which is just incredible because I take him through everything, and then he comes up on stage and just it's magic every single time.
Yeah, I've been loving all the guest stars and the co-stars that have been popping up. And like I know, I know her. She's been great. And like you wonder where the hell have they been? So
Yeah.
it's nice that you're getting work to the people who deserve it as well.
Yeah, and and I also like world building too. So like and I asked, I know you saw the full season this year.
Full season 1, not full season 2.
Oh, you have not seen full season 2 yet. Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm waiting for my wife. So
Okay, yes, we have Allison Tolman has a guest appearance there that is remarkable, and you'd seem like, and we bring her back. Also, the good thing is like when you deal with ghosts, you can bring people back in ways.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so very exciting. Yeah, the cast is the funnest part, really.
Well, I cannot wait to see more. Let me close with a real quick one. 3 words to describe season 2.
3 words to describe season 2. I would say out of control.
Excellent. I love it.
Right.
I have seen 2 episodes. I cannot wait to see more, but my
Beautiful.
wife,
All right, get your wife back so you
got to
can
keep
see
up.
it.